Yeah, the Prime Minister just doesn't want to talk about what matters, does he? Because the less he knows about a subject or doesn't want to talk about it, the more he gets angry.
Rage!
You know we are about to enter an election campaign when the Prime Minister dons his cricket outfit for the cameras. There he is, all suited up in white, posing alongside Olympic breakdancer Rachel Reagan Gunn. Remember her?
Did you know that breakdancing was included as an official sport in the Olympics for the first time in Paris?
Everything in life's a bonus. Some people have said to me,
enough is enough.
Once again, there's Albo with his dog moonlighting as the everyday man. And you know the campaign is imminent when Albo starts peddling out
Misinformation and disinformation.
like this one.
there is no opposition health policy. They just said on Saturday in something that it was sincere as a fake tan, said that he'd match it. Well, it'll fade away, just like a fake tan does.
Geez, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And for the record, there is nothing wrong with fake tan.
It's a good thing that I'm able to
Fade away, just like a fake tan does.
But the bizarre optics have started and we aren't even in campaign proper yet. If this is Labor's new strategy of Kamala Harris-esque word vomit and jargon, it's going to make for an exhaustive campaign.
I'm gonna throw up. When folks vote, they order what they want, and in this case, they got what they asked for. I went off script a little bit.
And that's what I do.
And it seems as though this is not the only strategy being adopted by Labor, because it's become increasingly obvious when the Prime Minister has had enough of serious and important questions by reporters, the strategy is to snap, crackle and pop.
and that's a good thing that people can do that.
He seems to be only comfortable and at ease when he is talking about...
Date night.
With Alan Joyce,
Unequivocally.
He seems to be only comfortable and at ease when he is talking about Peter Dutton. Now, as we know, the polls are bad for Albo. And as he and his policies get more desperate, he gets more angry. The Prime Minister was today spruiking his $8.5 billion Medicare pledge, pretending like Dutton has not pledged the exact same policy, and was asked a genuine question, who's paying for it? But Albo doesn't want a bar of it.
The economists are saying that this pre-election spending is going to be paid for by taxpayers paying in the form of bracket creep.
I'm not a commentator. That's your job. What my job is to do is to
Fade away, just like a fake tan does.
Is bracket creep a problem that you'll seek to address through more income tax cuts in the next term, or should Australians expect
with respect, Paul, I did answer the question. It mightn't be the one that you like, but I did answer the question.
Well, it's not whether the reporter likes the answer or not. It's an important question for us, the public, to get clarity on. Who is paying and how? And this is important because according to the Australian Financial Review, Albo has overseen the biggest spending increase for a first-term government since Gough Whitlam in the 1970s.
And I was honoured to be the first Prime Minister in a number of years.
Labor has made more than $120 billion worth of discretionary spending decisions from its three budgets.
in order to continue to put that downward pressure on inflation.
And there are billions more in yet to be accounted for election promises, like the increase in bulk billing.
No, but you get to do the questions, I get to do the answers. That's the way it works.
In fact, economist Chris Richardson has warned there's only one real possibility to pay for it, and that's through higher income taxes and bracket creep.
I agreed to it.
So there's certainly nothing free about Albo's free GP visits. He's on a spending bonanza with our money, and the contempt he shows when he snaps at the very question of it tells you everything you need to know about this Prime Minister.
I don't feel the need to give myself a character assessment.
He will do and say anything to win, but not when he's asked about it.
How else am I going to label any criticism levelled against me as discrimination and hate speech? Albo, Can you make me an Aboriginal?
Then, of course, at the weekend, 3 Chinese warships took part in live fire drills off the east coast. This is serious because we're talking about lives at stake as passenger jets were rerouted. And again, guess what? Albo didn't want a bar of it.
I've been travelling in the car, so I'm not. I haven't been advised about that.
You're going to be looking at some sort of a punishment for China, like trade restrictions or anything like that?
You do know that most of the trade goes from here to there, not the other way around, and I've worked pretty hard.
Australia's relationship with
China
matters. Trust, respect, and honesty matters. This is how I will approach my relations.
And you know what my job is, Carl? Yeah. It's really simple. It's to back China.
And I want Australian families to know that the government has your back.
Does this escalation from China warrant a stronger defence response from Australia, Prime Minister?
Well, I've answered the... with respect, I have answered the questions.
Seriously, Prime Minister, China is at our doorstep in a provocative manner, threatening our sovereignty, and you've apparently had enough talking about it. Beijing would lap it up because his silence is what China wants from Australia's handsome boy.
And people were saying that we have a handsome boy coming from Australia.
And it happened again last week when he was asked about the timing of the election.
Gather around in the election, they might coincide with...
It's so boring. It's so boring. The questions... No, gather round's fantastic. Just one of the initiatives. What's boring is questions about election timing. And because you ask it, I've been asked it for a year.
It's not okay to question a traitor.
The Prime Minister just doesn't want to talk about what matters, does he? Cost of living, electricity,
fake tan,
keeping the lights on in this country, paying for your bills.
Our priority will be to provide cost of living relief.
My word is my bond, but I had my fingers crossed.
And what's abundantly clear is a failure to communicate, because the less he knows about a subject or doesn't want to talk about it, the more he gets angry. And compare this to when he's talking about Peter Dutton.
Peter Dutton will fade away, just like a fake tan does.
Geez, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
And I just say we should be able to have political discussion and disagreement, do it respectfully, and that is really important.
And he kind of looks like a hypocrite.
What you see is what you get. The values that I was raised with are the values that I hold dear, and they're the values I'll take into government. Peter Dutton's incapable. Couldn't find it. You'd have to get him a map first, because he doesn't know where it is. That's a matter for Peter Dutton.
Peter Dutton is the Prime Minister's security blanket. It is the only topic he's comfortable with. Yet what we need is a Prime Minister who fronts up, who doesn't shrivel at the thought of being asked important questions, who stands up for our values, who has a real plan to take this country forward.